Everybody, welcome to boy, I got my glasses off. Monday, July 10th, regular city council meeting. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first we have some additions to the agenda. We've got some additional bills to pay. We've got a memo dated July 10th from Mike Lyons in regards to tax increment financing reimbursement and a maintenance technician draft job description. Can I get a motion to approve those?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Next, we got public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issues raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issues will be placed on the agenda of the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Anybody have anything? Hello, Pat.
Pat Netco, 36084, County Road 66, Cross Lake. Good evening, council and staff. Our connectivity group within the Cross Lakers met regarding the upcoming roundabout sidewalk beautification project. And we have some questions and some suggestions. You all have a packet in front of you with what I'm reading right now. And this is for your later reference, so action can be taken on this, hopefully. What is your plan moving forward regarding timeline and budget? We know this is budgeting time of the year, and we want to make sure that there is something within the budget for the beautification piece of this project.
Our plan has been to wait for you to come forward with a plan.
Well, here I am.
All right, good.
Perfect
Falls
timing.
right in place.
This is a county project enhanced by the city of Cross Lake. It's important to make sure that we get this right in the planning stage. If it's only the county, we feel that we will get giant stainless steel lights and hydro seeding. And we feel that we can do better than that for the interior portion of our town. Would the city consider putting together a group, including a representative from Public Works, City Council, Bolton and Mink, the project management team, which I assume is still meeting? Jonathan has said that hopefully there's a meeting coming up. Possibly the Cross Lakers, the Cross Lake Garden Club, or an interested member of the public. And we would like to know if you're planning a public meeting for the beautification piece of the project, like you did for the roundabout piece. And we think this would be greatly appreciated by the community. It would give them some involvement and to understand what is upcoming. And a question is, could our city administrator put out an RFP to landscapers in the area for the beautification project from Reeds to Bald Eagle Trail, which is, what, about a mile, something like that, including the center of the roundabout, ideas for ground cover between the new curb and the sidewalk, the new sidewalk, taking into consideration snow and snow removal and proper plants and all that kind of thing. And possibly some increased landscape lighting, trees and plants that will flourish in our environment and preferably be low maintenance, and be respectful to the businesses that they are in front of. In other words, we don't want to have big, tall pine trees along the whole boulevard that block the businesses. So landscapers, this group would meet with potential landscapers and hopefully come up with a plan and what the concerns and all that is. But we feel that this needs to get done as soon as possible because specifically of the budgeting process. And if this project is to happen in the summer of 2024, we need to get this moving ASAP.
Have you approached the county at all, Pat, as far as what they will allow?
That is something that the final plans are not totally done yet. The project management team needs to meet and we need to see those, and those need to be go forward to the landscapers that are interested in coming up with a plan for this. And what we want, I think the county is very willing to listen and look at different plans. They're not going to pay for the enhanced beautification beyond hydro seeding and giant stainless steel lights. So as far as the lighting goes, we like to work with Public Works, who got the street lights, especially down by the Andes Corner, that we can put banners on. And if the street lights around the roundabout would be okay with the city to do the same kind of lighting, to keep the same kind of look within the city and not have a gobbledygook of this kind of light here and this kind of light here and all that. So we need to get this right the first time out. And so we need to know what those costs might be. It might be some research on what the cost of the lighting is, how many lights do we need, downward. That has to be looked at as a team effort with the county to do this and to get this right. Meeting the requirements for the roundabout and the lighting around there, I don't know, that would be between the city and the county. I have some pictures here that you have all seen, and I want to give, can I use this, TJ? A big shout out to Jonathan Grothy again for all of his architecture work and ideas, and thank you,
Thank you
Jonathan.
very much, Jonathan,
And it's
for all you do.
huge because he is a golden asset here in our town. So as you can see, this is the existing Andes Corner, and there are 57 parking spaces. This is one design, keeping this entrance up here, can you see that? Which is basically in front of like a Diner Realty and Common Goods. And with this plan, this adds 4 additional parking spaces. And with the next plan, this adds 9 additional parking spaces, taking away this entrance. So there's a way, and this would have to be worked out with the county, and it's possible that the curb would come out further than this is. And this is not necessarily grass and trees. This is green space. We need to figure out what the ground cover should be, what the best idea is, but we want it to be something natural and something green, not cement or asphalt.
So there is a corridor for a sidewalk there, and you're not showing anything for that.
Right. And the final plans are not done.
Okay.
This is something that Jonathan has mocked up, but this is a green space that would be very important by the roundabout to beautify this.
Yep.
It's right now just a sea of asphalt down there, and I think the entrance to Cross Lake would be hugely enhanced by doing something there. That's why we need an RFP out to some landscapers to see what the interest is and what their ideas are. And then here are just some ideas. I'm just going to flip through these quickly because I know I just have a couple of minutes. That we have printed off. This is stamped concrete with trees. And here you can see some big, beautiful flower baskets in the boulevard there with stamped concrete. This is a wayfinding map, which we've talked about since the Minnesota Design Team came in 2017. And we have looked at different ideas. We think this is an excellent idea, and this is something that can be added on, as we go. But this is an idea to keep in your brains that we would love to see a couple of wayfinding maps for the walkers, because they're going to be walking on these sidewalks to find things within Cross Lake, to know how to get to Town Square and how to get up to all the businesses on 66. This is one very Colorado-looking roundabout, and this isn't necessarily what we'd want, but this is an idea. And we have all basically agreed we would love to have a Welcome to Cross Lake sign in the middle of the roundabout that matches the other Welcome to Cross Lake signs, County Road 3, County Road 16, within the middle of the roundabout with a design from a landscaper or the garden club or something, and with the approval of the city and the county. This is just another idea. So in your pack, there's many, many ideas. This is another one. So with all the natural things that we have around here, we're hoping that we could get some landscapers on board to give a proposal and explaining that the work is to be done next summer, most likely. So I'd like to know your thoughts. I realize it's public forum and you don't do any action tonight, but I would like to see if it's possible to have the city administrator get an RFP out for landscaping.
We don't have any design or anything for them to look at, but maybe just to notify them so they can spark their
Well, and to come
interest.
up with an idea, they can look at a lot of this, and Jonathan will have some other stuff
Yeah,
right from the county when the project management team meets. And so like have him meeting with the landscapers, and maybe this whole group would meet with the individual landscapers
yeah.
that are interested.
So the critical thing you want to do is form a group tonight.
Yes,
mean,
and
that's what you'd like to
and
do.
to direct an RFP to be put out, both things.
Okay, Sandy, take over.
Well, I mean, your timing is great because you're right. I mean, if we don't jump on this, the county will do the bare minimum and we've already invested so much time and energy and, finances into this. I think, I'm actually happy to volunteer myself to be on that committee, and I think maybe the EDA should be involved as well. And, I don't know.
We would like you to assign this group
Oh,
and get this started.
okay.
Can it be a part of the Cross Lakers group? I mean, do you want it to mix it with that or not?
I think that this is beyond the Cross Lakers. I think that there are so many aspects of this, specifically with the budget and getting the landscapers involved. The Cross Lakers definitely would be involved, but I don't feel that we're the lead on this. I think the group with these identified people needs to be the lead on this and have the ideas and the thoughts of the Cross Lakers, who is everybody in Cross Lake. Anybody can be a Cross Laker.
Will Jonathan be on the committee?
Yes, he said he would be,
Okay.
for
Well,
sure.
and you're really identifying the PMT group with addition to the Cross Lakers and Pat from Public Works. So maybe we could
Well, and
talk
Bolton
to.
and Mink, and, I
Well,
think,
Bolton and Mink is part of the PMT group. though.
right, but
Yeah.
if they would need to be part of this group as well,
Yeah.
because that's the
Well,
project
would you like to
management
see
team.
something in the paper or something asking for people to volunteer?
No, I want you to just assign it, get it done.
Okay, like I said, Sandy, take over.
Well, if we have Pat and we have Sandy and we have Jonathan, we've got 3 of the pieces of the puzzle right there.
Right, and,
I'm willing to be on it, and, there's a couple other Cross Lakers that are probably willing to be on it if need be. I can make a call to the Garden Club because I know all of them.
I'll just come up. We have, this is a difficult thing, and trying to figure out exactly how to treat it, because we're looking for like an RFP, but we don't have a
plan.
program really, and I think it's almost like what we're asking is kind of almost a design competition from a landscape firm.
No, I get
Because
that.
we need to see what they might do and their suggestions, and then put a price on it. And it's hard for us to kind of program too much, except to say, here's the area it takes. We may be able to get a square foot number of how much area would be landscape and so on.
Well, I think it's
But
an interesting challenge for, landscapers out there to come up with some ideas.
The competition thing, I think, is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan came up with that.
Yep.
Pat, could you and Sandy and Jonathan come together and maybe form that group and then let us know? I think that might be something.
See how that works?
And then we can start moving together. I like Jonathan's
Well, Pat, are you willing
suggestion.
to be on this group? Yeah. Okay. See, we got
So
4.
this is actually asking landscapers to bring forward a design.
Yes,
And I think that's where we have to start. We don't have a design.
right, but
so-
that has to come from the city.
Yeah.
That can't come from the group
Yeah.
or from,
Well, let's back up a second. We already have a project management team, and we've talked about a lot of these things wouldn't that be one of the functions of that team? Because we're ancillary to the project, meaning the entire project is built within the right-of-way at the county. And we don't want to do something outside of that we haven't gone through and worked with our engineer in the county, so we're all on the same page. What I'm saying is, we don't want to go off on our own
No,
tangent.
But we can bring them ideas.
And we can bring this project
We need
management.
to find out what the county
Yeah.
is going to allow
it
us
has
to do.
to, right, but if we leave this and
Well,
don't
we're
do
not
anything.
leaving it.
But the county will put up giant stainless lights and hydro seed.
We don't know what they're going to do yet because we're still trying to figure out.
They've already commented, Pat,
Yeah.
that that will be our elective. If it's additional to what they have, then we'll
But
have to pay
since
for
it
it.
is our elective, we
Yeah.
need to move on it and get the ideas flowing.
Yep.
I'm not asking for a specific budget number or a time frame or anything, just to get the landscapers on board with what the proper plants and proper surface should be and get those ideas coming.
No one's disagreeing with that, but I think the appropriate forum is the project management team, and that's one of the things they discuss working with the county, because I know, John, you've been to all those meetings too.
Yeah, I think we can introduce it there. The question just becomes, how do we get a budget
Yep.
for strictly this that can come before the council and you can make a good decision on how much you're willing to do.
Right.
Because
So-
that's over and above what the county is willing
Right.
to do.
We're going to have to throw a dart at the wall because it's going to be hard to know, but.
We can't budget for it until we have the design, so I think we get the
Which
design.
is why we need to get the landscapers on board.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we need to have a PMT meeting soon and have it start there, figure out what they're due, because we've talked about it there before. We've talked about irrigation, wire, lighting, so Phil's thinking about it. I don't know what he's done with it.
So are there Cross Lakers on this project management team?
Jonathan is.
Jonathan.
John is.
Well, set a date and we'll make sure the right people are there.
Well, without the landscapers and their ideas, that's, I think, you want to wait till the first project management team coming up?
I'm not sure when the next one is scheduled. We haven't got one scheduled, but
Can we put something in the paper, just put out a challenge there, or?
Well, I'll make a motion that the city administrator puts a RFP out there to the landscapers to develop a design for, what do you want to call it, streetscape
Streetscape,
or whatever.
the corridor.
So,
whatever we want to call this.
You're going to have to tell these designers if you're going to pay them for their time and effort.
Not an RFP, but if you hire them from that,
Then you pay them.
Right.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, I'm good with that.
Thanks, Pat, I think it's a great idea.
So hold it now, that's a motion, Marcia? Yes, it is. Second, somebody?
Second?
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries all in favor? Yeah, we'll follow it up and talk and
Thank you.
maybe ad in the paper or something, but we got to get some kind of description for it.
can we give Mike a deadline for when we want to have those designs submitted? A deadline?
Well, as soon as you can, yeah.
Well, that's not good. Give it-
Well,
We
I
need
think what
we
we
need a
need-
date.
I think what we need to do is go back to the project management team and get the engineer and the county's input so they can help us with this, because they have some idea and they can provide us numbers, but for you to direct me to say, go get an RFP to do something, how are you going to answer the question, what are we doing?
Well, Phil's not here tonight, but Bolton and Mink might very well have people on their docket that
They do.
this kind of thing, which would be very helpful. Whether we need other ideas or, how that's going to work, but they need to know that they're not just working with the county portion of this, that the beautification extras are coming from the city.
Right, we understand that, but remember, this is all in the county right away.
Right.
And so it's not entirely
It
our
has to be
decision to
approved
say.
by them, agreed.
Here's what we're going to do. So I think we're kind of jumping ahead to say, go design something and we don't know what we're doing yet.
Well, I think,
And we can get that process started in the project management meeting with the engineer and the people, because I know they've thought about this, because we've talked about it, Jonathan has, and we've talked about the concepts that you brought here, and we're both waiting for, let's get some cost information, because there will be a substantial amount that the city will have to levy for, basically the trail and the sidewalks and those amenities. And we don't know what that number is yet. And we've got some design concepts that Jonathan's brought forward, and that's what we need to be thinking about. I'm not trying to say, no, don't do it, but we need to be with the county on this from the get-go instead of coming in after the fact and saying, we want something different you may not have considered.
You're saying
So-
get the approval of the county before we
Right.
put the RFP there.
Hopefully, we'll have a
We need their
plan
input.
developing by the August meeting. I mean, that's about the soonest we could do.
All we're looking for is the design.
Make
We're
that
not asking
connection.
for a bid, we're looking for a design.
We're looking for design and proper stuff and approximate, I mean, numbers are all over the board. What could be in the budget? Because this is budget processing time, which is why we're before you tonight.
Yep.
It's because it's crunch time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Hi, my name is Nicole Hohen, and we are currently residing at 33994 Pineview Lane in Cross Lake. I come to you today to talk about my family and I. We tried to move into this community 2 years ago, and we have been struggling to find affordable housing and just struggling in general to find anything, rentals, anything to purchase. We can't compete against the VRBO competition. We've exhausted all of our funds. Our family has been under an extreme amount of stress and is falling apart as I'm speaking to you tonight. Poor housing and environmental issues have taken my health and my ability to work. We are being forced to overpay for rent because of lack of regulation around VRBOs, no affordable long-term rentals, or affordable safe housing to purchase. We are paying $3,500 a month to live in a mold and mouse infested house that today a moldy beam fell from the ceiling that could have killed our 8-year-old daughter. In addition, there are a lot of other problems, unsafe, uninhabitable problems with this residence. The list is long.
What would you
Sorry,
like
I'm
us to,
shaking.
what would you like us to do to try to help you, Nicole?
I'm here to let everybody know what our situation is, and I know that we can't be alone in this struggle. And it's not just a struggle, we are now suffering. Our landlord's response, Mary Broomer, her response today was, "I'm glad it didn't kill anyone. You do not need to renew your lease after November. I will let you out of your lease come November." She's refused to make any repairs on the house. There is black mold, and there is mouse poop all over the place, all over. The carpets is terrible. I can't sleep at night. I haven't slept since we moved in. I don't feel safe, and I certainly don't feel good about having my children sleep in that house. And we have no other options. And this is breaking us. It is breaking us down.
When did you move in?
2 months ago. When we moved in, the house was dirty. Prior to that, I mean, it was dirty and just mouse poop everywhere, sticky counters, moldy bread. The fridge was moldy. There were dead ticks on the carpet. There were dead birds around the house. It's just snakes. I mean, there are anything every day. I'm not even kidding. Every single day since May 18th, there has been an issue. And I'm trembling right now because every night I go back there and I have panic attacks. We have no other choice. We had money in savings to purchase or build a home, and we've exhausted that. We have nothing.
What we're asking for is
I'm-
just stricter regulations around things. The fact that the city council and the city chooses to provide no restrictions or anything on these short-term rentals and is choosing these investors and their money over a community. There is no community that's here.
And so I am here today actually begging the community to hear me and probably other families as well suffering because we don't have a home. We can't, okay, I'm sorry. I am begging the Cross Lake City Council to please hear us. Our family is suffering. There needs to be a change and there needs to be regulation. The Cross Lake community, realtors, property investors, the community are making decisions, choosing VRBO owners and investors to be their community over people who want to be full-time residents. This is destructive. Cross Lake once was a beautiful place that I had dreamed of raising my family in. But today, I regret moving here. And I don't know where my family is going to sleep tonight.
Okay, Nicole, I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear you say that, and I know you're not alone. There's a lot of people in that situation. Unfortunately for our town, they don't stop here. Most of them realize they can't do it, and they just move on. And this town is missing a good element of people.
Pequot Lakes put
Yeah.
a restriction around VRBOs.
Yeah, well, that's been an argument that we've been having up here for a couple of years, so.
Well, maybe it needs to continue.
Have you contacted the county
Yeah.
and no response?
Yeah, there just is no available housing here, you know,
Well, it's
affordable.
not even that. It's just affordable. And the rent, $3,500, that's $1 million house. That's not $1 million house.
Yeah.
We went and we were going to look, when that house was on the market 2 years ago, we were going to go and look at it. How can we compete with people who have walking around with hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash? We can't. You're making it impossible. This community won't be rich in life.
Yeah.
It will be a VRBO. It will be run down, used, and abused.
So Nicole.
And that's a shame.
There's nothing we can do for you, unfortunately, tonight. I guess I would offer, if you want to leave me your number, if somebody calls up and says, maybe we can help those people, I
I
would
will
certainly
take
keep
any
it.
help we can get. I'm begging
And that will
everyone
just-
here to help our
Yeah.
family.
Hopefully your message is heard, and
I
that'll-
hope so, and I'm going
Yeah.
to keep coming back and continuing to share the message.
But I sincerely mean that. If you want to leave your number with me,
I will.
do it.
I'll leave my
and
number, and
We'll see if somebody comes forward.
please, and thank you.
And I'm sorry, that's the condition. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people like yourself in that position.
Yeah.
So-
Well, thank you, and please do consider making a change.
Yep, thank you much for coming up and giving us your message. Hopefully it's heard loud.
I hope so, too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi,
Hi.
Patricia Berg, 12038 Harbor Lane in Cross Lake. I'm just I'm here to say thank you. I did talk to Ideal Township today, and this is in regards to Whitefish Area Lodging Association. The letters went out, and in less than a week, it's already over half of the people have responded to us, and so we have good response, and people are actually listening to what has to be said. So I would like to thank Marcia for kind of really staying on the horse for that and really taking care of it, but really thank you guys for listening, and just sending out those letters from somebody other than me made a significant impact, so thank you.
Good. Thanks, Betty.
Thank you.
Cindy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. I just want to say thank you also on behalf of the businesses, the residents, and the visitors who spent their 4th of July holiday in Cross Lake for your $15,000 contribution to the Cross Lake fireworks display. We were able to raise the additional $5,000 to fund the $20,000 show, as well as an additional $2,000 to cover expenses for advertising and other related expenses. It's no small task to organize this event, so I'd also like to recognize Joel Knipple. A big thanks to Joel, who handles everything to do with the floating barges.
Stand up and take a bow, Joel.
I'd like to thank Max and Brad Nelson, who have been storing and towing the barges across the lake to the launch, then to Sand Island, then back to the launch, and then back to the storage. It gets to be a very late night for them. I want to thank Kent Carlson for letting us use his private Sand Island to protect the pyrotechnics when the display goes off. I want to thank Cross Lake Park and Rec for their assistance to block off the Robert Street launch. I want to thank R&J Radio, who allow us to hijack their Skeeter radio station for the music that's choreographed to the show. I want to thank the generous businesses, residents, and visitors who funded the additional $7,000 to cover the costs. I want to thank Doug Oster, who is the local photographer, retired resident. He takes some awesome aerial photos of all Cross Lake events, as well as other folks that took really cool photos of the display that you can see on the Cross Lake Chamber's Facebook page. And I want to thank the PAL Foundation for assisting with the collection of the donations. Always the closest Saturday to the 4th of July, which falls on a Thursday next year, we have the next show scheduled for Saturday, July the 6th of 2024, which will be the 54th annual display. And again, we truly appreciate your support to keep this fantastic and unique tradition going. And thank you.
Thank you for all you do too, Cindy.
Yeah, I sincerely appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Anybody else? That's kind of a hard act to follow, huh? Okay, next, critical issues. Mike, I believe you got something to go over with us?
I do. Hi, Mike Willits, Director of Training Safety for Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association. I believe you have some handouts explaining, I'm going to be talking about an employee safety program today, hopefully working with the City of Cross Lake again. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association, but we'll go to the second slide there. You know, MMUA is a nonprofit state association, been around since 1931, basically for the same reasons as the League of Minnesota Cities. We started out with legislation and got into safety and any other services. We do government relations, safety management, technical training, leadership development, so on, all those different things. Right now, MMUA, we work with about 10,000 employees a month. In that neighborhood, we work with about 50% of the cities in the state of Minnesota. This is all we do is city government. We have done and do some counties also, but most of the city government. Just a little overview of MMUA again. The Safety Management Program is what we're talking about tonight. We do a large safety program also for League of Minnesota Cities. It's called the RSG program. Do about 300 different communities with that program. We have a training center out in Marshall, Minnesota. We train employees all over the world out there. Primarily line workers, power line workers, but we do a lot of general public works employees and so on in confined space entry. It's focused around hands-on training. The program I want to talk about tonight, that second slide there, or that below slide, second for me, a safety program designed around plan, develop, and conduct monthly safety trainings. The system that we're working at right now is a Tier 2 program, which would be 1 day a month, is what we're thinking about. Implementing a standard safety record-keeping system. Why that's important, I mentioned we work with about 50% of the communities in the state. The file system looks just like Rochester's or Brainerd's or any other system that we work with. So all of our staff, we have 25 safety staff, and if something did happen here, we would be able to get through that no matter who was on vacation or whatever. Perform facility audits and worksite audits. That's a big thing. You know, we're not the kind of company that comes in and just shows a PowerPoint and does safety training. We're out with the staff, you know, working on the roads, making sure they're doing the right things, in the confined spaces, lifting a helping hand sometimes, making sure they're doing things safe. Of course, the thing is to make sure we're dotting the i's, crossing the t's, so you're OSHA compliant and so on. That takes place with your safety records and so on within the city hall and helping staff do that. Identifying opportunities to take safety to a higher level. You know, there's actually a slide in here, but, you know, what we try to do is take safety to a higher level, you know, keeping that top of mind. No more flavor of the day type safety. You know, usually safety becomes important when OSHA stops by or you have an accident. We want to be that friendly kick in the rear end, making sure that it's happening all the time, and we do a pretty good job of that.
How did you find us, Mike?
How did we find you?
How did you find us?
People find us. You know, we don't do advertisements. We've worked with Cross Lake before. That's one of the big reasons. And usually, you know, people usually know League of Minnesota Cities, you know, and they talk about it. The city administrator, city staff talk to each other at meetings and so on. So that's usually where we get, you know, new members, so on. That's one thing. You need to be a member to be part of our program, just like you were. And I believe you're still a member of MMUA, correct? So you're still a member, which is really reasonable at your level, or you're a water member. I'm not sure, I'd have to hate to quote the dollar, but it's very low.
So are you active in the city right now? Do you come up and do your?
We do not. We do not. We did several years ago. I believe when the telephone system was sold off or whatever, there was changes and all that happened. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But typically, if anybody does leave our system, they come back. That's most common.
Yeah, we used to get together with the phone company for 2 days. We had sessions scheduled, and when we sold the phone company, we said, well, we don't need that anymore because the phone company basically ran our safety program. We went out on our own and tried to do it online, through an online system, and then we would supplement the training with outside sources for CPR, fire extinguishers, things like that. What we found was it didn't work really good for us, and we started falling behind in the areas that we needed to do a better job on. One of the things that went away when we did that is our safety committee pretty much evaporated. We had staff changes, council members changed, and what staff is asking is to get back on a program to get us back in compliance. So we have a system in place, a documentation like we used to have, and we're compliant with what we're supposed to be. What Mike is talking about tonight is we don't think we have enough time or resources to get ourselves in compliant by the end of this year with where we should be compared to where we're at. So we asked him, Shar and I asked him to come here tonight and present this information to you with the hope that we could get started on it this year and then budget appropriately for next year to get the city back on track where we should be, should an event occur, and go forth from there.
What measurement or milestone is it that we get back on track to? What are we trying to meet?
You know, we would have to come here and evaluate, but the big thing is we can get those dots and the T's crossed and get that going for you, or get the files going. The training's going to take a little bit. We would come in and do, you know, some bulk training, right to know, lockout, tag out, confined space, and those type of things that you need. Aware, which is a big piece that you haven't done for several years. You know, all that we would do in a short amount of time, which isn't the best way to do it, of course, we know that. But we need to get it done for you, get caught up, and then we can do it the right way, you know, because, you know, shoving too much information into a short amount of time isn't always the best way. But
What happens to the city if we don't get it done? I mean, is there a penalty or something, or some kind of a
Yeah, you-
certification or something that we don't
Absolutely.
have?
If OSHA were to come into town, you could get fined for certain things that maybe not have done. You could be, if there is an accident or whatever, that's when it could be a big issue.
Okay, this is just
So-
a surprise to me to have you come in
So-
here. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, so we have not been doing training at all since we dropped out of MMUA's training safety program.
That's an incorrect statement.
I'm
We did
asking,
training.
that's a
No, we did
question.
not. We did, the answer is we did some training, but not to the level that we needed to do to be compliant. That's not something we have the expertise to do. The short story is, we tried to save a few bucks and do it ourselves through Target Solutions on a self-guided type of system, and it's just not working. So we need to get back to how we did it when we had the phone company.
In what areas do you see the greatest lack of preparation?
I don't think it'd be preparation. I think it would be if we were challenged on an OSHA incident, we'd struggle with it big time.
Is OSHA still, when they fine you, is that still how they earn their living? In other words, that's their paycheck still? It always has been.
Yeah, they have target areas where a city government is one of those target areas where they'll come through. A regular OSHA fine, that has to do with record keeping or training or whatever, typically isn't going to break the bank. It's basically a slap on the hand going, things aren't, you need to kick it up a notch. Where it could be a problem is if somebody got hurt, like I said, and then, but, no matter what, with Cross Lake being a member and going in, we would come and help you through those things to make sure that, it was as good a process as possible.
So Mike, if we jump forward to the bottom line where everybody goes to, which one of these packages are you thinking that a city like this needs?
On this handout here, it's a different, yep, there we go. So that one there, you fall into that S2, which is 1,001 to 3,000, which one day would be 14,219.
And what do you think it would take to bring us into compliance?
Far as the record keeping, I haven't looked at anything or so on. I'm sure that we can get you back on track in a few months. Like I said, the training and so on, I don't know exactly where we are with that. But
So
How far-
one day a month for 3 months or so?
Mike,
no,
how-
it would, per year, one day a month for 12 months, and we would continue that
Okay,
process.
okay.
That it doesn't go away. You don't get to one spot and go, we don't need to be doing it anymore. It's a constant piece.
how far are we behind in training? How many training sessions do we need to do? Aware?
The phone company
Has
was
it-
here, that's been a while.
Well, I know, but Mike said that they did some outsourcing. I mean, how far are we behind? You have training records. That's what OSHA's going to come in. If they come in and do a compliance check, they're going to ask for that training file and look at it and see what you should have, what the required training is. So how far are we?
I
From
can't
that-
answer that because I
Oh.
don't know. And that's
you-
part of the problem, is we were relying on a third-party vendor to help us manage that, and it's not working.
Oh, so they were keeping track of your training, not you?
Correct.
Could you get that file from them to find out where you're at?
Yeah.
So
I
does
mean,
that include
it's-
the fire department too? No, you guys do your own stuff?
I think it would benefit us by finding out what actually training that we're behind in. So if you would contact the third party that's been doing the training, I think that would be a good start.
And you'll need that information anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, the first thing we would do is come in and evaluate everything and see where we need to go. And if the PD or even the fire department wanted us to work with them on certain things, we certainly can. We do evening meetings every once in a while to keep them up to date too, so we can fill in those gaps that they may have to make it a little easier to accomplish what they need to accomplish.
But you're going to need to know what training they've received already, and that is current in order to move forward.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's typical. What we do is come in and evaluate, I mean, and make sure where we need to go, so.
Okay, Mike, does anybody else have any comments or questions about it?
Well, I just wish we'd had some more
Little
notice.
heads up,
Yeah.
this kind of blindsides us. So I'd like to take a look at this for a little bit and figure out where we're at, and then we'll get back to you and see what
Okay.
we do. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have a listing of the required training that we
Pardon me?
need? Do you have a listing of the required training that we need to have in that file?
It's
and done?
actually on your handout,
Is it?
on the back side of this handout. We'll go through that with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there contact info for you on here anymore?
I do have some cards. May I step forward?
Sure. God, we're used to anything happening here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let us talk about it and talk to the guys about it, and let us get back to you if you would, Mike.
You bet.
Can we do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. I think we need to know where we're at.
Okay, next is the consent
Wait,
calendar.
Can I just,
Sure.
can I follow up? You will contact that training party and find out which ones are current, the training sessions? Thank you.
You did tonight, Chip, huh? You did, yeah, okay. Okay, thank you, Mike. Next is the consent calendar. All items here are listed to be considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a citizen or a council member so requests. What do we have?
Can I just ask what the above-the-line leadership development training for 3,300 is? Or do I have to pull the bills?
Well, no, ask it. I didn't understand your question, though.
On the list of bills, there's above-the-line leadership development training for $3,300.
Okay. Are you going to take that one?
That is a leadership training that Jory Danielson's attending throughout the next 12 months. 12 months. It's a series of training through some very high-level instructors down in Minneapolis at Roseville Fire Station, and that's completely reimbursed by the MBFD, so it doesn't cost the city anything. It's already been submitted, and it'll get reimbursed here in the next month.
We just pay it up front and then
Correct.
we pay it up front and get it back.
That is
again.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chip. Any other questions, comments? Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve all items listed.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, now we gotta acknowledge Mr. Lee. First is a letter from Mission Township in regards to Chief Lee. On behalf of the residents and property owners of Mission Township, we wish to congratulate you on your upcoming retirement and extend best wishes to you and Kathy for health and happiness in the next phase of your life. 30 years of law enforcement service is a notable achievement. Even more notable is 26 and a half years with the city of Cross Lake. We're certain there are many interesting stories and experiences of accomplishment and challenge over the years. We hope you enter retirement with a rewarding sense of fulfillment and pride for a job well done over your law enforcement career. For Mission Township, we have appreciated your expertise on law enforcement issues, your service to our community, and your engagement as a resident. We are fortunate because while you will no longer be police chief, you will remain a valued member of the community. Our town board thanks you for your service and extends best wishes to you and Kathy for your best years ahead. There you go, Chief Lee. Now, that has set the stage for an announcement for a celebration of retirement for Chief Lee. It's going to be Thursday, July 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the City Hall here. So everybody who wants to come and say goodbye or best wishes or any other message they'd have, that'd be a good time to do it. Okay? Okay, Jackson, this is yours.
No, we have
Oh.
TJ.
Oh, TJ, I'm sorry. This
All right.
is a presentation on short-term rentals.
Yeah, so what I'm about to show you is currently live on our website. It's under latest news, short-term rental information. Click on that guy. There is just a short little snippet information about what Crow Wing County has on their website, and if you click here, it'll pull you to their website that talks about short-term rentals, talks about their ordinance, frequently asked questions, are you applying for a license, so on and so forth. You can even click here to apply for the short-term rental. And then down here is the map, and it's a tool you can use to check out all short-term rentals in Crow Wing County. And if you go up to Cross Lake, zoom in, click on one, it gives you their physical address, who their emergency contact name is, emergency contact phone, license ID, parcel number, and their business. So it's a tool that the community can use to look up if there's a short-term rental by their place to get some more information, or if you're looking at applying for an actual VRBO, all your information's here. So it's at our disposal right on our website for people to use.
So what if you're trying to make a complaint on one?
Well,
sure
there's
there's a
a
link to that,
contact
right?
complaints right here on or online complaint form.
Can you click on that?
Yep. Hotline phone number, and then there's a submittal down here. Document, you can upload any photos if you have any.
Okay, and where does that go? To answering system?
I'm assuming
County
to someone's email at the county level.
Or maybe a contracted person or something.
Correct. So it's just a tool that the citizens can use directly from our website. They don't have to go to the Crow Wing County website and try to find it.
It'll go to the appropriate person, this
Correct.
complaint form. And if you don't do it through the complaint form, you don't know if the right person got the complaint. So it would benefit anybody that's got a complaint on STRs to go through the county website. And now we have a link on our site just to do that, and you can get the property owner's name and everything else. You can upload pictures, you can, so I think it's just kind of an educational thing tonight to let people know this is the avenue to take.
So there are still people who are frustrated with short-term rentals. And the reason for this is just to let them know that there is a way to report it, to find out if they are, whatever. So if anybody's got a question, Adam, TJ is always at the Park and Rec Department. But no, I mean, you know, we'll try to help if we can, and we'll see what happens with it.
Well, if you file a complaint, I would check it, in a couple of days and find out what they're going to do about it, or I guess if you leave your contact information, I would think they would get back to you.
Okay, we'll see how it works. Okay, number 4 is yours. Marcia, can you take that? Yeah.
Okay. At the last meeting, there was something about, a statement about conflict of interest being ridiculous, and our fire chief is not, conflict of interest. I don't think that they understand the conflict of interest is not the city council. This is a law, And in order to comply with that law, we have to do this separate invoice and an affidavit. And I guess if Brad wants to expound on it, he can, but it is not anything that the city council dreamt up. This is a state law, and it's compliance with the conflict of interest. So when someone gets up and says it's ridiculous, when the fire chief has a company that's training our firemen, we don't have a problem with hiring them, but we do have to comply with the conflict of interest law, which says you will show it up separate and you'll have an affidavit signed by the owner. So it's not anything we dreamt up, it's the law. I guess if Brad wants to expound on it.
I can answer any questions if you have any, but.
It is what it is.
Yeah. You just want to clarify it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at the last meeting, it was said we were ridiculous for thinking that the fire chief is doing something wrong. That is not the issue. The issue is conflict of interest. Fire chief owns the training company, and the training company we've contracted with, that puts us in a position of conflict of interest, and we have to acknowledge it, and we have to let the public know that we're doing this. And if the public has a problem with it, then they need to let us know. We don't have a problem with it. We're just complying with the law.
And right now, we're in compliance and we're doing it the way we're supposed to, and all is good.
It wasn't being done before.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, any other question on that? Next, we have an email from our labor attorney. Who wants to read this one or explain it?
I think the city clerk should.
I'm sorry?
The city clerk should.
Oh, Sarah, do you want to explain it? I mean, just,
No, she should read it. We were drugged through the papers. I'm sorry. Somebody should read it.
well, there's a,
Marcia, why don't you read it?
I'll read it.
Okay.
I'll read it. There's a little clarification. The last meeting, we got kind of slapped on the hand by some actions that we took, and our labor attorney looked at the meeting, and she just had a couple comments. I have reviewed the recording of the June 12th, 2023 City Council meeting, in which you indicated the June 7th BMS mediation session was a closed meeting, and alleged there were violations of the open meeting law during the closed session meeting. You also noted you were saddened, in parentheses, that I was, or quotes, that I was present in the closed meeting, and you were disappointed that I didn't stop the discussions in violation of the open meeting law. Please review the email below that I sent to you and the city attorney on June 2nd. As you will recall, I informed you that there will be no public business transacted during the June 7th mediation session. It was not a meeting covered by the open meeting law. I specifically stated in that email that I copied you and the city attorney on the email in the event you had any questions or concerns with my approach. I did not hear back from you or him. The process that was followed during the June 7th mediation is consistent with the other mediations where all members of a city council or county board are in attendance and no public business is transacted. I noted your comments during the June 12th city council meeting about Juneteenth and the workplace assessment and audit. The mediation process is confidential, therefore I will not disclose the specific proposals from the union or the city as part of the mediation. However, when one party makes a proposal in mediation, whether it relates to wages, benefits, or other matters, the other party must discuss the proposal and options related to that proposal. Those discussions relative to the proposal and options are part of the normal process in mediation. There was no public business transacted during the mediation, and those discussions about proposals and options do not constitute a violation of the open meeting law. In the future, if you have any questions for me or concerns, please contact me. Thank you, Susan Hanson. So that's just a little clarification. There was some stuff flying around at the last meeting that maybe is clarified now. Okay, Sandy, you get to follow me up on that.
Okay, great. Well, so as most of you know, I think I've never before served as an elected official. So I was really excited to had the opportunity to attend the League of Minnesota Cities conference in Duluth last month, so I could expand my knowledge of the city government. I just wanted to give a little update about what I learned there and share that with you since the city pays for me to attend. In addition to making some great connections with others in city government, which was one of my goals, I also attended a couple of enlightening workshops. I chose these workshops because they seemed quite relevant to conditions here in Cross Lake, and I was hoping for some direction and some clarity. I came away sufficiently inspired and emboldened to address you all tonight. One of these workshops was entitled From Conflict to Conversation. The other was entitled Tactics for Difficult Meetings. So obviously there's a theme here. This is only my 7th month serving on your city council, but it has become evident that there are some issues that need to be addressed. I stepped into this position with very little background knowledge of the personalities involved or events that have transpired in the past. I just wanted to contribute to this beautiful city and gain some insight into how this community functions. I was honestly unprepared for what seems to be at times a lack of cooperation, communication, collegiality, and even sometimes a lack of respect. There appears to be some tension and even some animosity on the part of some that is evidently based on past incidents and interactions. How can we as a council and all of us as a community be efficient, productive, and effective given this environment? I don't think that we can be. Believe it or not, I learned during my workshops that this is not an uncommon situation. In fact, both of those workshops were standing room only. We are not alone in this dilemma. Based on what I experienced at my conference, I am here seeking 2 courses of action. First, I'm challenging every member of the council, every city staff member, and every community member to lay aside past differences, to give each other the grace to move forward unfettered by past grievances, so that we can productively work together for the good of Cross Lake. Disagreement is not only natural, it's actually essential when we're dealing with important matters that affect so many people, but it can be positive and productive when approached with mutual respect, a common goal, and a willingness to really hear other people's opinions. I know that the last thing that any of us on the council desires is for our constituents to feel frustrated, confused, angry, or disrespected. If any of you in the public have questions or concerns, please email or call us, rather than listening to or spreading gossip. It's very rarely accurate. I've been confronted with people with information, and it's not true, and it just, rumors get passed around, and it's really negative. Also, I may live to regret this, but I've placed a comment box out in the lobby, and I promise that I will read every comment, and if I can't help, I'll pass it on to someone who perhaps can.
Those comment cards are for Sandy.
They're for me, yes, so I'm not including anybody else.
If you want me to put a box out there, I sure will.
Second, I'm asking that the council agree upon my proposed resolution accepting 9 rules of civility that will determine how we conduct ourselves during meetings and how we expect all those in attendance to conduct themselves as well. I realize that the burden of civility cannot rest solely on the city council, but it can begin with us. Through example, we can lead. So TJ, I have a resolution up there, and if you guys will indulge me, I'm going to read it out loud. This is a resolution accepting the 9 rules of civility, whereas the residents of the city of Cross Lake place a high value on respect and civility in their lives, and they understand that these characteristics are essential to any healthy community, and whereas the Cross Lake City Council supports opportunities for civil discourse and discussion in the community and at City Hall, and whereas the City Council sometimes addresses controversial issues about which people often feel passionately, which at times leads to uncivil behavior, and whereas an atmosphere of incivility and disrespect can have a damaging effect on the proceedings, on the quality of debate, and on the practice of democracy itself, now therefore be it resolved that the Cross Lake City Council recognizes 9 tools of civility that will provide increased opportunities for civil discourse in order to find positive resolutions to the issues that face our city. These tools include pay attention, listen, be inclusive, do not gossip, show respect, be agreeable, apologize when necessary, give constructive criticism when it's needed, and take responsibility always. Be it further resolved that the Cross Lake City Council shall promote the use and the adherence of these tools in conducting the business of the council. So, is there any discussion?
Where have you been all my life?
So I just, after going to this conference, I just wanted to address what feels like an elephant in the room. And I'm only been here 7 months.
Sandy, I want to thank you for taking a chance and stepping off the driving lane. Good for you. I make a motion, we approve this resolution.
I'll second it.
Aaron seconds it. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good job, Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay, Jackson, now you're up.
So I followed up with Ms. Soldo, and we came to a conclusion that for 32 hours of investigation time, that would be maybe 16 hours doing interviews, 16 hours doing the back end. She thinks she could probably even whittle it down from that, depending on how long the interviews go, for roughly $5,000. Nothing more, but it could be less than $5,000 as well. And the goal of this would just be to kind of establish and go off of what Sandy had just talked about, just some of the civil discourse between the council and city staff and ironing out the kinks, seeing where some of the problems lie.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, do we have her track record? I mean, so she does all these interviews, is there any assurance that she'll come to some, productive, positive conclusion for us?
I imagine she's been doing it.
Life, Sandy.
Yeah, taxes and that.
She said she had been doing it for 30 years, so.
She came highly recommended.
Okay.
So I make a motion, we approve this. Get her in here and get it done.
For under 5.
Well, for her proposed 5, yeah.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Aye? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, we're going to just go through the motions of making another motion to direct staff to complete the City Hall sign. And with that, I guess I got a question. Did we ever find any lettering for it?
We did find some old lettering that's close, not identical.
Andy did reply that they only ordered one set.
Oh. Can we find out who they ordered it from so it would match?
Yeah.
Or should we put the old stuff on? Maybe that'll be a good show. Are they the same color?
No, they have to be painted and everything.
You can't look at both sides at the same time anyway.
All right, I made a motion, we direct them to complete the sign. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Dave, can I ask a question on it?
Absolutely.
Can this be a late fall or early winter project instead of this summer? Because I think they're kind of stretched out right now pretty bad.
But they want to do it when it's nice.
We got,
well, maybe we should.
One individual's gonna be gone this week, next week he's gone, the following week. Basically, the whole month of July, there's gonna be 1 or 2 employees gone.
Maybe we should just hire somebody to do it. I think it's a shame that we built this building and we can't put a light in indicating where it is.
Well, the light isn't, that's the short part, is putting all the letters on.
Well, that'd be a
The light I
start.
can get done in 20 minutes, it's the rest of it that it's gonna take time to get it done, it'll take 2 of us to do it.
I mean, I'm in favor of doing it. I don't have any problem with that. I'm just talking about a timeline, because I don't think that it should be, at this point, be a priority to do that. I think as we get into late fall and early winter, I agree. But
this was kind of the conversation last fall.
That's all I'm talking.
Yeah. It was kind of the same conversation we had last fall.
Well, probably pretty close, yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just hire somebody to do it.
I'm okay with that.
You.
Yeah. No thanks.
Well, let's just modify the,
you and I do it.
the motion to just put the light on it. Get the light
Yeah,
on
we
the
can
thing.
get the light on it, that's,
Maybe
that's a,
City Hall. And not all the.
Well, maybe Jackson and I will go over there after hours sometime and put it up.
Might be mismatched, but.
Do you know how to spell City Hall?
Okay, so the motion is to ask staff to put the light up similar to the other side.
Yeah, we'll have.
Do I have a
Deb
second
the
on
light
that?
for it.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, just try to get the light up, Pat.
Baby steps, baby steps.
We don't want to rush into anything here. Okay, now next is the sale of the side-by-side. It seems to me we've talked about this multiple times too. Is there any discussion to have about the side-by-side? I'll make a motion.
Advertised for sale, because I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I'm going to make a motion to direct our Park and Rec director to sell the side-by-side and apply the funds to the purchase of the new side-by-side. Do I have a second on that one?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Okay, now we have a resolution accepting donations. We got a donation from the Pell Foundation for $681.84, intended purpose the community garden, and another donation from the Pell Foundation for $338.86 for the pickleball courts. I thank the Pell Foundation for their donations, and do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution and accept the donations as read.
I second that motion.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Next, we have a commission appointment. I hereby recommend the following appointment, and it's for the EDA Authority, and I guess it says an alternate, but Mr. Gahn, I really appreciate you stepping up, David Gahn, to the EDA, and hopefully that will turn permanent.
Second.
That's first, we need a first.
Oh,
Need
I
a
thought you
motion.
need the motion.
I just read the resolution.
Okay. I move we approve it.
Okay, do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, David. Okay, Mr. Linus, it's your turn. City Administrator's report.
Item 1 is a letter from the state demographer just telling us our most recent population estimate and household estimate. If you look on the second page of that, our households, we have about 1,205 households and about 2,490 what we call residents. Now, we all know what residents mean. That means people that are registered to vote here, not actually people that live here. Because when you look at our tax data, the overwhelming majority of our land value is seasonal rec and not people that actually live here and vote here, okay? That's just for your information.
Okay.
There's no action required on that. The second item is an updated memo from me about the tax increment financing district. The information that was in your packet was incorrect. When I received the June advance from the county, there was enough detail in there to identify the payment. What they didn't do is they failed to deduct the state auditor's share of the tax increment payment. So what you have in front of you is the updated payment, which is $22.22 lower, and that's the required payment for our outstanding tax increment districts. So I need a council action and a motion to approve us to release that payment.
I move we approve the tax increment financing reimbursement.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Mike, you had this on there, but I don't think we should talk about this tonight.
No, I think what is just for your information, is to, work with the attorney and the labor attorney to come back with the recommendation to
Yeah,
present
and
to the council.
They're working on that.
So I know they're working on that, but they've asked me a few questions, which I've responded to. So they're working on that.
Okay.
The last item, I think we'll kick that off with Shar. One of the things we did was, we've had some questions on, I want more detail in the financials, I want less detail, I need more, I can't make a decision if I don't get more. I just want high-level stuff. Just to kick this off, and then Shar will go through it, is, we based our chart of accounts on the standard chart of accounts as recommended by the state auditor, on which we have to report on an annual basis. And where the discussion comes in is, what's a position, meaning the department head and the different staff below that, as prescribed by the state auditor, which we follow. Where some of the discussion comes in is, what functions are those people doing? What activities are those positions doing? So when you say, what's the difference between an object, meaning the object is that position, meaning it's a department head, an assistant, or a second or third or staff, versus an activity, which means, do I work in the Parks Department? Do I work in the Police Department, or whatever department you work in? And so we had this discussion, quite a while ago, and at that time, the request was, well, let's find out how much Parks and Rec versus Public Works, how are we plowing snow? And so when you look in your financials, you'll see under the Parks and Rec department, because we can say, well, Parks and Rec does Parks and Rec stuff, whatever that stuff is. But then we put another category within that department that said, here's that activity they're doing. They're going to plow snow, or they're going to do trails. And we did the same thing for Public Works. Where it gets a little cloudy is if you want to know the cost of something, you can't just say, well, I'm just going to put another code in there so I can do, mowing City Hall or mowing Public Works, because all you're going to get is that gross wage. You're not going to get any of the benefits that go with it. So I'm going to turn it over to Shar, and she can talk about your discussion with Banyan on what the recommended approach might look like.
Marcia and I had a conversation with Banyan on the phone. And there's a couple different ways we can do it. Mike and I have a preferred way to go through and make changes to payroll. But it's going to be basically up to the council to make those decisions and tell us how you want it done.
Well, my comment would be, we're just trying to track certain jobs that we're doing, so that in the event we need to hire somebody because we're shorthanded or something, we can justify it. Now we've started plowing, we've talked about this, sidewalks in the winter, and how much time do we dedicate to that? And
Well, I think sewer, cemetery, those are the two big things, the sewer and the cemetery, adding it.
on the grass, I mean,
I would like to see, apparently, they want to keep the department heads' wages separate and leave them in the 100. But I don't see a need for Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. Those are all individual employees. I think we should roll it all into 101 in that, like in Park and Rec, bring Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3 into 101. And the same thing goes for the Public Works, to put the wages in 101. Just put them all in, so you don't have to add up the wages for Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. Who's Tech 1? Tech 1 is like Joe, or Tech 2 is
Well, Tech 1 is
Seth.
an employee across the board.
Yeah. I'm
I
just
mean,
saying, usually on the financial statement, you don't put individual employees. Just put it in wages. Just put it in wages.
Well, again, this was set up by the employee function.
Right, so
And
then
it-
you wouldn't know how many employees you even have in that department then.
I mean, if you need
Doesn't matter, what we want to see is the
I'm
wages.
just saying, I don't know if the council agrees that they don't,
Oh, okay.
that they want to do it that way. That's That's the first question I would like answered.
I mean, if you want a report that shows all salaries, we can design one to do that, to answer that question. But what we're trying to not do is to confuse specific activities with specific jobs. We're trying to follow, and the city council's adopted the Uniform Chart of Accounts. So we're unique in the aspect that we don't have a lot of employees. So we have the luxury of only having one tech one, one tech two, and one assistant and one department head. What we're looking at, if you want specific detail for this activity costs this much, then we need to set that activity up and track it accordingly.
I realize
And we
that.
can do
And
that.
that's what, when we sat down and talked to Banyan, and she said, you can do that. You can roll it all into wages if you want to. It's a matter of, it was set up that way before SHAR, but we can correct it.
Well, there's
I
nothing
mean,
to
not correct it,
correct.
but change it if we want to change it. It's not a big thing. All you're doing is rolling the wages instead of having them under Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. You're rolling them into wages. We're going to keep track of the cemetery. We're going to keep track of
This started
Sewer.
way back when we decided to plow the sidewalk in front of the
been a
community
year and a
center.
half.
And we had estimates about that, and the estimate was it's going to cost $3,000.
My first question on my memo, do you want to keep the department head separate from the other employees? Do you want to know how much that department head makes? Or do you want that department head to be included in a giant number with the rest of the employees' wages?
I don't care about salaries. I care about time. How much
Okay.
time do we spend?
Okay.
You
So on the financial
you
statement,
care about
you
wages
just take all
in
the
that.
employees and just lump them in one number.
If we're going to have to get another employee to do another job that we haven't, because we're changing, we're always adding something, how much time do we spend doing that? Where's the justification for hiring the new public works guy? You know, I mean, how
But
much?
if they're all in one number, how are you going to know that?
Well, I guess it's an impossible thing to ask, I guess,
We
Shar.
can add them
This been
together
a couple
for
of
you and
years. It
come up
seems
with a
kind of
different
simple to
report.
me.
It
I mean, it's just, you know, if I have 4 guys at work and one of them's roofing, I'm going to keep track how much time he spends roofing. Maybe we need 2 guys roofing.
Our,
I don't, you know,
our solution is to add departments under, sub-departments under Public Works and Parks.
It'd be similar to what you saw for snow plowing.
and if you can explain it to us so that we can track and see, yeah, I can see.
I
can
wouldn't
justify.
suggest taking out the Tech 1, Tech 2. Or the department head and lumping those together. I don't see a point in doing that.
It
I think
means
tracking
nothing
those-
to me.
I don't
Okay.
see a
Tech 2
point
means
in
nothing
having
to
them individually on the financial statement, why you wouldn't just put them in, but I'm not going to win this battle, so.
Which report are we talking
Well,
about?
it's a council decision, it's not mine.
No, I go through the expenditures pretty closely. I've done a lot of budgeting, working with line items, and I want to know who's making what, and I want to have an idea where we're at with that position. And if I see that one position is all of a sudden way down in expenditures for them, I want to know why we're down. Are they out on a medical leave? Is there something going on? I want to have an idea. I do look through that because that's what I did for many, many years. I tracked a $3 million budget within the police department on line item basis.
Would the council be interested in us coming up with another report that summarizes that information for
It
you?
would be just so easy just to
Yeah,
put it in 100 and 101, but you don't have to do it for me.
Well, if they just add the sub-departments, you'd be able to see that, we'd be able to see the time. And
In the financials, you get track dollars, they don't track hours.
Or dollars, sorry.
I'm agreeable to
Dollars.
whatever. I think it's. Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeable to whatever. I just think it's kind of a simple request, and we should be able to track something and see what we need.
Let's see the sub-departments. Let's put in the sub-departments, and then you get that number.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't see the advantage of lumping them all together. That seems like it would be, yeah, I don't care for that idea, but.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So do we need a motion?
Motion. I make a motion that we make sub-departments to figure out what time, or, sorry, to figure out what the wages are per job description.
I'll second that if you're looking at the fact that we bring everything in, the benefits and all, so that we see a real number.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a motion, a second, all in favor, aye. Aye. Motion carries, let's go on. Next, job description. Jake, are you taking that?
The job description?
Police Administrative Assistant?
You want me to read it?
Well, I don't know. Explain it.
Yeah, you don't need to read, you don't need to read the whole thing, but just, you know.
So we are looking for an administrative assistant to help out in the, just in the police department only. We,
Oh, God, I'm sorry, Patty. Dean, did I?
I just thought you wanted me to stay all evening.
No, I just wanted to give Jake a few minutes to think about his presentation. Now he had a heads up. Sorry about that, Dean.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff, and friends of Cross Lake. My name is Dean Fitch, and I'm chair of the Economic Development Authority. My report will be short tonight because you've already worked pretty hard, so I'll make it quick.
We appreciate that.
Yes, sir, I think so. Oh, you're doing it? Yep. It's very important to have people that are more talented than you around you, I can assure you of that. So here goes. First off, I'd like to point out that our mission statement that we've had all these years still works for us, and I just want to restate that, to develop and promote the economic growth and welfare of Cross Lake while protecting the environment. And so that's been a driver from the beginning. But the topics today are 5, and I just want to go through them rather quickly. First is the City Comprehensive Plan update. As of this moment, we've gone through 5 of the 9 comprehensive plan sections. We've gotten community experts come in and help us with each of them. We've reached out to them and they've commented on things and they met with us and we've tried to record them. And what we're seeing, at least on 3 of the 5 that we're through so far, is what people are looking for is more specificity. Our goals were really pretty lofty, and what they're saying to us is, let's make these goals, get them down to 500 feet instead of 10,000 feet, so that we can actually do something with them as far as goals for the community and for our comp plan. So that's really the driver. The second item here has to do with our survey. This is a screenshot from the Economic Development website. And recently, we've been working on a survey that reaches out to the community on both the consumer side and business side to give us some feedback on how we're doing and what is going on in our community and what would they like to see us do in terms of an economic development team and supporting them. So that survey is out there now. If you go to the website, you can click on these URLs and it'll open up the survey and you can fill it out. And if you wish to do that, that'd be terrific, and it would be helpful to us. The third item is economic development recruitment. We're working on so many projects at one time that it's important to have as many members as possible assisting us, and our board is actually made up of 5 people. There's 2 members from the council, and that's Sandy and Marcia, and we thank you for signing up for that, very important. And then Roger, Roy, Patty Norgod, and myself are the other 3. But we have as alternates John Andrews, David Gran, and Carla Greenbridge, but we're still looking for more people. And this is helpful in that if there is a project afoot that someone is really interested in the community and they'd like to move it along, if they'll come to us, we'll find a place for it, and maybe they'll want to join up with us and work on those. So that's kind of how we do that. The next one has to do with our website. We have been really fortunate. We've had a continuous support from Tremolo from the beginning. They helped us design our website. They update it for us. They keep it current. And so we're lucky to have corporate citizens who are willing to do these things. Not only does it save us money, but I think they do an excellent job too. So we thank them again publicly for that. And then since I reported to you last, we had a business forum. We invited builders and others in to talk about what do you need, builders, what do you need, people who are coming to want to build in Cross Lake, what do you need to be effective here? And at that meeting, we had representatives of county, state, some independent organizations, including BLEDA, HRA, the county commissioners, some banks, state and county financing, and some other experts. And so what we were trying to do is reach out to a broad spectrum of people and say, give us some information, help us do this job better, help us understand better what we're trying to get done here. And we've done some follow-up on that already. Martha had over 3 pages of notes, so we're still digging through them all, but it's been helpful, and I think it will be helpful in the future. So basically, that's my report for this evening. Are there any questions for me tonight?
I have one question, Dean. I think that a survey is a great idea. Is there any way we can get the word out? You know, I mean, unless someone is intentionally going to the EDA website, they have no idea that that survey is in existence, so.
Well, one of the things that we're going to do is that we're going to write a little article for one of the local newspapers talking about that and encouraging people to go there and sign up for them.
Great.
And of course, we've worked in collaboration with our businesses here in town, so we'll reach out through that group too and ask them to go ahead and sign up for it and do things with it. Yes, it's very interesting. You never know what you're going to get back, but I think as time goes on, we'll be able to find our way with that. As far as our schedules go, in July and August, we're working on the survey results. The results coming to you probably late August. In August, we have a meeting every week on the comp plan. In September, we're working on the website. And then our next full EDA meeting is September the 6th at 8:30. So that's what's going on our end.
I wish you would work really hard on some kind of affordable housing, Dean.
I wish we could solve that one. Yes, yes. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Dean. Okay, Jake, you had time? Yes. All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Okay, so we're here to discuss administrative assistant for the police department, full-time administrative assistant. So the job summary, the police administrative assistant provides clerical and administrative support to the police department, managing all incidents reports generated by the department. Duties include transcription of reports and interviews, proper handling of confidential and privileged information, distribution of reports to outside agencies, and records maintenance and general office support. This position provides professional and friendly customer service. The police administrative assistant works under the general supervision of the police chief and sergeant and accepts work assignments from patrol officers. The incumbent may provide emergency backup for the other city administrative staff as needed with prior approval from the police chief. Essential duties and responsibilities of the administrative assistant would be maintaining LETG incident reports, e-charging, EDWI, etc. Maintains validations, forfeitures, handgun permits, PR updates. There's a lot of words in here.
Yep. We don't understand most of them.
Right, and PR updates, CJRS, the OCA reports, etc. The reason why I'm reading this is so you realize how much we are all,
What you need
the
this
chief
person.
and I have been doing and spending almost every day, all day in the office, just trying to keep up with the demands of the what the state government and federal government now expect of our police departments, and it's pretty crazy. They act as a terminal agency coordinator. Most of this is record keeping stuff for these statistics that the FBI and stuff keep, and BCA keeps to show to show the trends in crime and whatnot. So you may not understand what it means, but I'll try to do my best to fill you in. They transcribe statements of field interviews completed by patrol officers as requested. Assists officers by performing investigative services or searches. Reviews officer incident case reports for completion of necessary information and enters all into RMS. Creates ICRs and may process ICRs for telephone reports from officers. They determine the Minnesota Offense Code for state criminal justice reporting systems using the Minnesota Offense Code Manual. Enters information in the law enforcement record system and validates procedures, state entry, and makes corrections as needed. Copies photos from disks into computer files. Makes copies of reports for city and county attorneys, social services, court probation, etc. Submitting tracking offender sheets as determined necessary. Assists in maintaining filing systems according to data retention schedule. Scans old records into electronic storage. Tracks cases and documents cases outcome in RMS. Prepares exhibits showing monthly activity for the information of the city council. Maintains audio, video, evidence, and vehicle inventory.
We got it.
You're good.
I was reading
You're
it for the
good.
public to understand what's going on, but if you guys have it in front of you and
How did you come up
do a
with a
ton.
step 5?
Step 5.
How did
Are we
you
going, oh, you want to go to that? All right. Well, you asked for a pay scale, and we gave you a pay scale.
Right. It was higher than we had talked about initially.
But I think step 5 is for somebody that has extensive experience. That's kind of where that was.
Yeah.
And we want,
That's why that
we
was
want
highlighted.
somebody good too.
So
You
the
know, we
reason
don't
why,
want a newbie.
reason why we highlighted,
Yeah.
the reason why we highlighted step 5 is because that's where we would like to start, is somebody with pretty good experience that we don't have to send to training, that already has these credentials. That'll save a lot of money and a lot of time at the beginning.
But on the advertisement, you had advertised the range, not the
Right,
salary. Salary gets negotiated at hiring.
Correct.
right.
So depending on.
Wait a minute, the salary gets negotiated higher?
Well, no, if they have the experience,
On the higher, yeah.
you see what I'm saying? No, not higher than the range.
Because step 10
Within
is
it.
about the 60.
No, within
Yeah.
it, not higher than.
You're advertising in that range, in the top
In that
to
range.
mid.
That's,
Yeah,
I would say that's not where we would even be close to starting anybody. I think we'd be looking at somebody with, 5-6 years of experience in this position that doesn't need training, would probably be right at that step 5. You guys asked for just more of a concrete number last month.
But what is your advertising going to say? This range?
Yeah. That doesn't mean you have to hire somebody at that top range if that's what they were qualified for. You can still negotiate the salary, but.
Well, why don't you go 45 to 50?
What?
What? I think the range is good. We want somebody good. We want somebody who has experience. I mean, they're going to already be down an officer. If we can have somebody who can crank out paperwork and help these guys stay on the streets, I think that's where we need to be.
Thank you, Jackson, for letting them know that. We are going to be down an officer, and I don't foresee us being able to fill that position anytime in the near future. We've had, after the last meeting, we did post for replacement full-time officer. We have 0 applicants. That was 3 weeks. 0. They're non-existent. They're not out there. If they are, and they're any good, they're already hired by somebody else, and they're not even done with school yet.
and the range that they have proposed here is the range that these experienced people sit in today.
Okay.
So basically, we're gonna be down an officer, and it'll be up to me, and it's a lot of work.
Well, I move that we approve this job description.
I'll second that.
With the salary range?
Yes.
With, yeah.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question? Have you put this forth to the union? I know they're not in the union, but if they would be going in the union, I mean, are you going to have this job class, or are they going to be all right with this pay range?
I think we discussed that at the last council meeting, if I remember right.
Did you contact the union then, or
Did
not?
we? No.
Oh.
That, I think, they explained that they could either, if that's what they wanted, they could be part of the union. Is that correct? The last meeting?
So they
But
wouldn't
it's not a
necessarily go in the
it wasn't a
union?
requirement, if I remember right.
Do they petition the union then to be in this union?
Yes, I believe so.
Is that it?
I'm sure they will.
Well, I know, but I have to ask the question, then so they will add that step, police administrative assistant in Teamsters. Ask me
Not in Teamsters, it would be an AFSME.
and ask me.
Yeah.
So I wonder where they would put that job class. Just wondering, out loud. I guess I shouldn't have, but.
You know, our pay scale that we came up with is we got them from the other surrounding cities that are our size. But that, you know, if you hire somebody, you can still negotiate that wage wherever you want to start them at. You know, you can do that before.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor?
No, I'm done with this, but can we go back to F4 for just a second? Not F4.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
But on the police chief, have we formally appointed him on the 14th to be the chief?
I thought we did, like 2 meetings ago.
Well,
The last meeting, the special meeting we did.
but we never selected a starting
the
date or
police chief.
anything.
Which one? Police chief?
Oh, police chief, yeah.
We promoted him to police chief, but we never said on.
I thought we did it the following day after Eric
Okay.
retires. The 14th, I thought.
I'm good, as long as it's set there.
13th.
Okay,
Okay, we're good?
That's TJ?
TJ?
All right, the first item I have for you is a memo dated July 5th, 2023, and the subject is site conceptual plan estimate. This is a revised estimate. A couple months back, if you remember, we talked about the conceptual design for a potential hockey rink, warming house, how we'd be able to fit it in our community park, where it would go, some figures within that. And you sent me back to my commission to kind of pinpoint some areas that we want to focus on. And we did that. Bolton and Mink updated the proposal to just encompass a conceptual plan along with a cost level estimate. Obviously, there's more pieces that are involved in those two pieces, but essentially this would give us a tool to get a conceptual design where we could place this and then ultimately get an estimate for you guys to consider. And my goal and the commission's goal is to try to get the ball moving on this so we can get an estimate. And if we want to put it in next year's budget, obviously we got to have some numbers to do that. So,
Are you still phasing this approach?
oh, certainly, yes. It's not going to be a one-phase project.
And
by
you
any
don't
means.
have any shocking numbers for us to see tonight?
No.
Okay.
So we went from do not exceed 15,000 to now we're at 9,000 for these two items.
But there'll be more items coming.
There's, yeah, when you look at a conceptual plan and a cost level estimate, it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but there's going to be big maps, there's going to be tools that we can use to show you guys and show the community what we're planning on doing and go from there.
But this section, it'll go from 15,000 to 9.
We were potentially at 15.
Yeah.
I think there was 3 or 4 tasks. Now this is narrowed down to 2.
Okay.
It does say that there may be additional services that
That's if we so choose. If we get this done and the council says, oh, we need some more information, this isn't really cutting it, or we need some more transparency with the public, that's where that would come in.
So you're asking us to move forward with 9,000 for design?
Correct. Design and cost level estimate for you guys to consider.
I move to approve it.
I'll second that.
Is that in the budget?
We have capital fund balance that we can pull from, and we also have in the levy, we have $5,000 for engineering services that we can pull from as well.
Okay.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next, me and the commission, we've been very excited to share with you that we have completed our right-of-way database project. There's a few items to go through here. The first one we'll go through, I'll try to be as quick as I can, is the actual presentation that we compiled through going on site visits. And we went on 52 site visits over 4 days. Each right-of-way, we spent from 15 to 30 minutes at the right-of-way, answering questions, taking pictures, objectively thinking at each of them independently. So if you see in the top left column, we have the name of the actual right-of-way, the plot that it lies in. We've numbered these right-of-ways now so we can identify them with a number. We have the width, we have the lake that it sits on, and then we have the date that we visited the actual right-of-way, and we can use this as a tool now. If there's any improvements, encroachments whatsoever, we can go back on these pictures to tell them, you know, we visited this June 8th, this is not what it looked like. And you see the observations here. All of the commission members and myself answered these individually, and then we talked about them collectively after we visited the right-of-way back in the vehicle. And then underneath we have comments of each, and then benefits and drawbacks of the specified right-of-way. So if we just peel through these, I'm not going to go through all 52 of them, but this is just a really good tool that not only the Park Commission can use, Public Works can use it as well as the council. And here you'll see a site use agreement is in place. If you click on that guy, it'll bring you to the meeting minutes that it was approved at council. We go back, we'll keep on just going through. They're in red. Anything in red will show you any improvements and or encroachments that are a part of the right-of-way that we saw that day. You'll see quite a bit of red. And that's going to be my question to you all is, well, how do we want to proceed with these and how do we want to manage them going forward?
So TJ, I got a question. Big Pine Trail, there's an access to Big Pine.
Mm-hmm.
And
2 of them.
where did they originate? How did they get there? The Manhattan Point ones, we kind of know where they came from.
Whenever they developed the plats.
So they were dedicated
Included, yep.
when the plat was developed.
Yep. You'll see, I mean, there's Big Trout, Manhattan, or Rush, Daggett, Cross.
And our
There's one
policy
on
is not
Fawn.
to improve or let anybody use them right now, but to keep them because someday the council may change and allow that to happen.
Absolutely. You'll see right here, there's structures, private property right in smack dab in the middle. There's one where there's a cabin right in the middle of it. I'll be happy to go through these with you. There's Varley's here. We could go on and on.
TJ, are there some that could, right now be, utilized in a better way for Cross Lake?
You'll notice the top left corner, I have stars. And those are what we have identified that are currently usable and that they should be probably marked and put on a map for the citizens to know.
And we're going to allow them to use them?
They're allowed to right now. They just don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
That was part of the problem is we would have to have it surveyed, so we're not telling people walk over private property. And that's expensive.
Well, can you locate them close enough, within a half a foot or something to the sides?
I would not feel comfortable locating myself to know.
You shouldn't. So then we
Exactly
should
where they're
survey
at,
them.
yeah.
If we're going to say that they're usable, we should survey them.
So this is the presentation, and then if we move on to more tools, this is just a itemized list going from 1 to 52 of each right-of-way. Again, the plot with Lake River, the notes, and then adjacent addresses so you can properly identify them where they're at. Here we have a map that traditionally we've had. They just have not been numbered. So they're according to where they're numbered on the right-of-way database. You can go here, East Ave, number 5, you go to the map, and you can find it located on Manhattan Point and roughly where it's at. And here's just a highlighted, numbered right-of-ways on the original plats. Just another tool you can use to see where they were originally on their plats compared to where they're at now and how it's changed.
Can the general public access this information?
It's only mine as of right now, and that's up to you guys to make the call where this information goes and how we proceed further to maintain them. When Patrick and I go out there, we're going to have this tool, but if we see some encroachments, obviously that you've seen in red and or improvements, how would you guys like us to proceed?
Well, maybe you
and
should
move
give them
forward?
a 30-day window to get the encroachments off and then use the administrative fine.
One of them has a cabin.
We're in trouble.
And there's corners of homes, there's decks, there's a dozen driveways.
Now, if people are mowing them, do we care if they're mowing them? Obviously, if they're mowed, they're
If they're
a
mowed,
lot more
nobody's gonna use them.
accessible.
The purpose of them mowing these right-of-ways is
I know,
because
'cause
it's part of their lawn now.
Their own, right, exactly.
So
And I'm sure once they're posted, they're gonna quit maintaining.
I think a responsible action would be to develop a task force and/or a group that would look at this information and maybe give some more information to you, council, how to proceed with changing something in the ordinance, adding verbiage, how do we manage these going forward? It's always been kind of a touchy deal. Nobody really wants to act on them, and do we mark some? Do we make the map accessible to the public? Do we put signage out there? There's a lot of things we can potentially do that are responsible, but I think a group needs to discuss them.
So who do you want that task force to be?
I'll throw my name on the list.
I think it should be department heads, along with maybe one or two commission members from each commission, because they have some skin in the game. They've been dealing with these, and also a council member or two.
Well, Jackson's already volunteered.
I think we keep it
I'll
internal within departments in the council.
Well, I mean, it's a potentially valuable assets here, so I think it's worth pursuing personally.
All right, I'll throw my name in the hat with Jackson too. I'll sit in on it. Okay,
I agree with the department heads, how you said laying it out. I'm in agreement with that. And do we need a motion on that, Char? Okay, I move the department heads come together and work with the two commissions that are involved, the chairs of those two commissions. And then Dave, if you want your name in the hat, anybody else? Okay.
Throw my name in.
And move forward. That's my motion.
I second that motion.
the only thing I'd add is I think we should label it a task force. I kind of like that label.
Okay.
Any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, TJ.
And TJ, I'm impressed with how much
Yeah,
you
that
accomplished.
looks,
That's
you guys did a
impressive.
great job.
Yeah.
Commission members to the following: Kira Porter, Heather Jones, Ann Schrupp, Peter Graves, and Joe Albrecht. They all donated their time to come out with me and get eaten alive by mosquitoes and collect all that information. So thank you to the
Pizza or
following.
something.
Thank you to them.
Yep, thank you to them.
Okay, Patrick.
All right, first one is change order from Rice Lake Construction. And the first one is we have a $24,900.79 that we did not use.
Ooh, boy, you don't hear that very often.
No.
That's a
I
rare.
wondered if I was reading this correctly when I saw it.
Don't tell TJ.
So we need a motion to approve that one.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now, that was for the clarifier, is that
Yes,
Rice Lake?
that's the clarifier
Yeah,
project.
okay.
Oh, we're just not spending it.
Okay,
And the next one is that we have a payment of $22,207.24 is our final payment on it.
is that payment number 7?
Yes.
Yeah, number 7?
I'll make a motion to approve the application for payment number 7 to Rice Lake Construction Group in the amount of $22,207.24.
I'll okay. Second the motion.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
All right, we need a motion on the Public Works meeting. You want me to read it, or you guys read through it?
You want to
or-
go through each one of these motions? It would,
Not really, if you guys just look it over. But we do need a motion on this one to,
you know what? I think we got to pull the sewer fund out for sure and talk about that. Come on.
okay.
Go ahead, read it.
Are you talking about the increase? in
We
sewer?
need to go through each of these.
We do.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, I think we should.
So I should just. do all these. All right. All right, there's a motion made by Tom Swenson and second by Gordon Wagner to recommend that the city council direct staff to investigate which contractor stored equipment and disturb the dirt at the right-of-way of Birch Beach off of Manhattan Point Boulevard. Determine which property owner hired the contractor and recommend a resolution to restore the area previous condition.
Who does that go to? Who does that go to, Pete?
No, that was, TJ seen that one.
I have some information that we potentially know, well, I do know where the work has been happening, so we'll be reaching out to that property owner and figure out how they can return it back to what it was.
So do you need a motion to do that, or?
I would like a motion, yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we
Direct.
direct TJ to go out there and,
So do you know
Fix
the
it.
property owner? Do you know the contractor?
I can get that information, I'm sure, from the.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
any other question, discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
All right, then there's a motion made by Tom Swenson and second by Tim Berg to recommend that the city council direct the city engineer to obtain a quote from Anderson Brothers to patch the driveway at 11722 Manhattan Point Boulevard from the street lane edge to the right of the way, install culvert and perform ditch-related services to direct the city attorney to produce easement and hold harmless agreements for property owners and neighbors. Direct the staff to provide cost estimate for their services to the related ditch grading and culvert installation.
So what happened when they redid the road out there, they kind of buried a culvert, or they didn't see it or something, but now there's a culvert.
It's kind of half buried and the ditch has been filled in. So the water runs down the road and then it cuts across his driveway and it washes out the far side of his driveway going down the hill.
So there was a price for $3,700 for Anderson Brothers to blacktop
Blacktop it, and we were gonna.
if the city staff was gonna go in and prep it for 'em.
Right. But then they also wanted us to get a price for have Anderson do it all too.
So this motion is just directing you to get that price and then come back a month later?
Yeah.
This is recommending the council to direct staff to do this.
Yeah, right. But I mean, so this motion is to direct you to go get it. And my concern is that we keep kicking this can down the road and this guy's gonna be flooding all winter again. And I think everybody agrees that it's a problem,
Yeah,
correct?
it needs to just be taken care of.
Right, but I just hate to see the 2 months go by and then try to schedule.
Phil said at that meeting, it was like $5,000. He just threw a number out for
Yeah.
Anderson Brothers.
And that turned out to be $3,700, but
Yeah.
we don't know what you got a culvert.
Yeah, we got the culvert, so all we gotta do is,
don't have time to go do it.
well, you have to
Well,
make the time, but.
How do you know it's
They wanted
3,700?
Anderson Brothers to actually give us
Get
a
a
price
price.
on a turnkey too.
Didn't Phil say that it wouldn't be done till the end of August or beginning of September anyway because of the,
And that's fine, as long as it gets back to a hard surface by.
well, if you make this recommendation in July, it will come back in
All right,
August with the
all right.
price. Okay.
Okay, so did
For
somebody?
5,000 or 3,700, I think we should just move forward with it and get it done. So I think we need to authorize Pat to do it. Am I reading this wrong?
Yeah, here comes Tom. He was at that meeting too.
We were ready to just move forward with the 3,700, and Pat and the crew was gonna prep it, and then, I thought it was you, said, well, maybe we should just see if Anderson
No,
Brothers
wasn't
can
me.
do it all. Somebody said that, and then
I
that's
might
how
have
it-
volunteered to jump on the backhoe and go over there and dig it up and get it ready for
Yeah,
him.
but I think initially, Phil had estimated 5,000 and it came in at 3,700 provided. And Pat said, it'd probably be 4 hours for the guys and the
Right, so could you
equipment
guys get that done?
to prep it. So, I mean,
Yeah, we can
if
get
you
it
want to
done.
get it done,
That's my point.
So
Yeah,
go
let's get
ahead
it
with
done.
your motion there and
Do
restate
we
it.
have a quote for 3,700?
Yes,
Where?
Phil had one.
It was a
It was
verbal
a verbal,
quote,
but-
I believe.
yeah. He had given it to Phil verbally.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should have it.
Well, make that part of your motion that,
We get a written
you know,
quote.
I'm
the
actually
utility
meeting with
crew
Anderson Brothers
preps it,
in a day or
and you
two,
pay,
so.
Anderson Brothers.
I just hate
no
to
more
see
than
the thing
30
delayed and something
37.
comes up next month and all of a sudden it's not done.
Well, and I don't see us starting any work until the agreements are signed.
Yeah.
After it. I mean,
That was the other part of the motion that,
I can easily draft it. First, you gotta do the motion and everything, if you want to just ratify everything in the Public Works, we'll get on it. But yeah, I'll have to talk to the engineers to help with the verbiage, but I can do it.
okay. So
I make a motion, you move forward with it and get it completed.
Okay.
I understand the cost could go as high as 5,000. My motion.
second it, Jackson, come on.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
I have discussion.
All in favor?
We're going ahead and approving something we don't even have a contract in front of us.
You mean the blacktopping contract? Well, we're assuming that it's got a limit of 5. Yeah. So you want to wait for another month and do it? I mean,
Well,
if
we
something
just propose
changes.
that it's 5,000 or
changes-
less, we
But
can
Phil
get it
told
done.
us, Phil said at that meeting that they weren't going to do it until September anyway.
Well-
Didn't he? I'm sorry. That's what I heard, that.
late August.
Yeah.
Right.
September.
Then let's wait.
But either way, we gotta get it on the docket for Anderson
We got to
Brothers,
get it
because
done.
they're gonna get
If there's
busier.
some crazy change in price, then put the brakes on and come back and we'll
Okay.
talk about it.
Very good.
Well, there's been a motion and a second.
There is one.
Yep. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, I think all in favor.
Yeah.
All right, next motion was made by Bob Frey and second by Tim Berg to support the job description of maintenance technician with recommended revisions.
Oh, you
That's the one
skipped
above.
one. You skipped one?
Yeah.
Third one?
Sewer fees.
Oh, yes, sorry. A motion was made by Tim Berg and second by Bob Frey to recommend that the city council increase sewer fees to $65 per month per ERU effective January 2024. Motion carried with all.
Any public comment to that one? Why?
So it's going from 55 to 65.
It hasn't been increased in 2 years, and the cost of doing everything is going up, so. But I mean, I welcome public comment to it.
I think where it came down was they were trying to look at inflation over the last couple of years. The other thing, last year, the city levied, it was roughly $90,000 of city tax dollars to subsidize the sewer operation. So even with this $10 increase, which it's a lot of money, that'll increase revenues approximately $35,000. So what you're doing, taking out inflation, but instead of this year having to subsidize it $90,000, theoretically, you would only have to subsidize it $55,000. So it's, you gotta pay for the operation and, whether it goes on the tax levy or you're.
But that's
having
why
the
I
users.
welcome public comment to this
Yep.
one, because
It is a lot of
I
money.
know it used to be $200 to pump out your septic tank with the drain field. Now it's $280 or $300. So the fact is why would it stop at the sewer plant, I mean, everything is going crazy. So, but I would welcome any comment. Come on up.
I wish I could have city sewer, and I wish I could pay $75 a month for it, because I have septic, and it costs a fortune, and you gotta pay $250, $300 every 3 years to have it pumped, and that's if you don't have any problems, and I just think $10 a month for somebody that's paying $55 to go to $65 when they don't have to have a septic, I wish I could have city sewer. Please put it into my place.
Thank you, Mark. Come on, Mac, come on up and argue with me. I know how much it ticks you off, and I agree with you, but everything is going up. I mean,
But it's been from the very beginning, it's been an issue with me, so
yeah,
I'm not a voter here anymore.
I hate to, well, you still got a voice. But I look at it both ways, but the fact is that everything is costing us more money and, okay, enough said. We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Who
I don't think there
moved?
was a motion.
Don't have a motion.
No, I did on the previous one.
Okay, well, go ahead, Jackson, make that
I don't
motion.
want to make that motion.
I move that we increase the user fees from $55 to $65.
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion on it?
Can we go 60?
Well, we're not keeping up with the inflation.
Well, then we'll go 65 next year. I mean, we
So
just
we're gonna
went
be-
10.
We're gonna be 8% behind this year on it then. It's 2 years we're doing,
Okay,
2 years.
sounds
I
good.
mean, it hasn't been raised for 2 years.
Oh, that's 22, gotcha, okay.
Effective
I was
January
reading 23.
2024.
Effective January 2024.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any
Motion
other?
second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I apologize for that, but it's the world we live in.
Okay, and there was a motion made by Bob Frey and second by Tim Berg to support the job description of maintenance technician with recommended revisions. The motion carried.
I gather this is a shared
It's
position?
a shared
Am
one
I-
between Parks and Public Works.
The description was in
What
your
I'm reading, that's what it's
additions.
telling me.
And again, that motion is just saying we support the job description. We're not telling you, we're not recommending you hire them or anything.
did
If
I
you
put it?
hire them, we've reviewed the job description and we're in agreement
additions.
with the job description.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is just to approve the description.
Yes.
And do we see the description? Is it here? Oh, is that what this is? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Make a motion. Let's get out of here.
This is pretty standard for what you have for other job descriptions, isn't it?
It's a little simpler than this, all the other ones we require a little bit more. This is just gonna be basic entry.
More certifications, that kind of thing?
Right.
Okay.
I move that we approve this work description.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor. Public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issue raised if council requires.
How about the Bolton and Mink part of it, that it's in the next 2 pages on the one we were just doing?
Oh, sorry.
Grab the one you were just doing, that one.
It's inside.
Go to the next.
That explained the first motion, the stormwater runoff at 11722 Manhattan Point Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That refers back to the first motion.
But I'm looking at the road improvement plan.
So this, we're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Public forum. Action may or may not be.
I did have a question, though. You approved that job description. Are we going to wait to hire someone? What are you going to do with that position?
You don't
I'm
have
just
a
wondering.
wage on that description, you just have a description.
Yeah.
So you're gonna come back next
You
month?
do have a wage.
It would fall in the same wage category as the park maintenance worker, I believe. You talked about that this afternoon at step 1.
I don't think we have to be concerned about the wage right now when we just hired someone to do an audit and a structure assessment for the city. Why would we start until after that
that
assessment
done.
is done? Yeah. I mean, right?
It's
I mean,
July.
isn't that what we just
Yeah.
hired somebody for $5,000 to do an audit and a structure assessment, and we're going to start adding to.
To get on that right away? So that'll be done
That sounded like it.
in a month or something?
Sounded, not
Okay.
a month. Not a month.
Purpose did not sound like
Probably about
determining if we needed a
Lawnmower.
So this is a temporary position, not a permanent?
Well, let's wait for a month before you put it out, huh?
Okay.
To bring it back next month and we'll talk about it and do a fee, a wage, put the package together.
Okay. What's that? I would guess. Yep. And then, the new truck that we ordered just about a year ago is actually setting up at the dealership right now. I did not get the final quote on that. He emailed me this morning that it was in and it'll be ready to pick up in a day or two, once they go through it. So I'm hoping, if it's within reason, I don't know how we do that, so we can, get it picked up, because sooner we get it picked up versus waiting a month, it's another month behind to get it down to Christeel and get everything done on it.
So what's your question?
If we can get it paid for without, you know, if it's, let's say it's just 5,000 or something over what the original bid was on that, on the truck.
It's already,
It should be the same price, but you know what, you know, because we talked, it went up.
no,
But that was more of the Christeel stuff, but the truck itself, I don't know the exact price on it.
Patrick, that's an open-ended statement you're making.
I know, I'm just trying to figure out how we can, versus waiting a month to pick up the truck,
I
because then it
guess-
puts everything another month behind
We're
to
gonna
get everything.
probably be having a special meeting
Right.
no, we won't.
sooner than later, so
Okay.
let Char know so she can post it on that meeting.
That's the new
Find out
thing.
what it is.
And then, the water trailer is in too, I just gotta get down to Mankato and get it picked up. And that is all paid for, no prices went up on that.
Exciting.
Okay. Are we done?
Done.
Patty, wait a second now, I gotta do this. Public forum, action may or may not be taken on any issue raised. If council requires more information and time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the next agenda. Please come up, Patty. What do you got?
Patty Norgard, Bunkhouse Road, Cross Lake EDDA. So Dean gave a great update on what's been happening at, in our EDA commission. What I want to add to is that tomorrow, or excuse me, Wednesday, July 12th, Dr. Tim Hool, who is our Crow Wing County Administrator, is going to be our speaker at our EDA meeting.
You call him doctor now?
He is a doctor.
Of what?
Public Works. Public policy.
Boy.
So anyway, for those who have not heard him, you will be pleasantly surprised at his engaging manner and his ability to draw out the crowd and have them ask questions, and he's going to give brilliant answers to you. You'll be happy you're there. So anyway, this invitation went out to all of our local county or cities, and so we may have a big crowd, but this is a busy time of the year, and so maybe 20 people. But anyway, please come and support this effort, because what he's going to talk about is how the demographics that we are in today is going to influence our preparation and planning for the future. And so we know that this week, Patrick is going to come and fill the pothole on Bunkhouse Road. And sometimes that is what we are responsible for. But we also have to plan where we're going to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So please come and join us on Wednesday, July 12th, 8:30 a.m. right here. And then the other thing is I want to talk about a little bit more is to give a shout out to Carla Bainbridge, who has orchestrated and managed the survey that is going out to business and residents. She has done a phenomenal job. She has worked with Bladek, who have done the design on our flyer that will be in the Northland Press through August. She has recruited businesses already that will be able to pick up the flyer. She is going to be calling on organizations in Cross Lake to get the message out. And Excuse me. And so, as Dean said, this is very important. And as Carla said, if we don't know where we're going, any road will get us there. So this is going to give us a baseline for our businesses and our residents alike. So just a little bit more information on that. And thank you, Sandy, for bringing up how important this is to get the message out. So there, quick and easy. Thank you.
Patty.
Patty, are you going to tape Tim's presentation?
Can we tape Tim's presentation? Okay.
I'd appreciate it, because I'm out of town.
Yes. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to see it.
And he was a presenter at the conference that
He was
I just
good.
attended, and he was very good.
Yes, yes, he has,
Good bedside manner.
I looked him up on
As a doctor.
the internet.
Thank you.
I looked him up on the internet, and he has quite a bio, which he is very humble at talking about, so, thank you.
Huh?
Thanks, Patty.
That is respectful. He's a doctor.
She was looking up the 90s.
You gonna slap a workplace?
Forum,
complaint?
anybody else have anything? Okay, not seeing anybody, we'll close it. City attorney report, Brad, nothing? Nothing? Old business? New business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for hanging in here, people. I don't know how you do it.